Consider the traditional boss, the hero at the top of the org chart, who dictates orders, expects compliance, and treats leadership as a simple transaction, targets hit in exchange for a paycheck. It's a model built for a predictable, industrial world. But rapid advancements in AI and shifting global trade have fractured that predictable environment. This fracture has a massive human toll. Today, over 80% of employees report feeling close to exhaustion. This level of burnout drains an estimated $1 trillion in lost productivity from the global economy every single year. The command and control framework has become an active liability that destroys corporate value from the inside out. A new class of leaders is taking a different approach. They are abandoning rigid control metrics and leaning into empathy, inclusion, and individualized consideration. This data maps the business outcomes of inclusive leadership. Organizations prioritizing empathy achieve 56% higher revenue growth, driven by better innovation. Teams led this way see engagement levels 8.5 times stronger, halting costly attrition. We have to understand how these concepts transitioned from cultural ideals into the primary engines of economic efficiency. The answer lies in our biology. Neurocardiology research reveals that the human heart contains a complex, independent neural network capable of processing information and sensing the environment. This heart-brain processes our deepest personal values and manages our genuine, felt connection to other people. Modern leaders use this biological capacity to build psychological safety. By actively listening, they can detect the early warning signs of stress long before it turns into chronic burnout. Establishing this biological empathy provides the deep trust required to diagnose and address systemic stress before it cripples a team. Once that foundation of trust is secure, leaders can engage the head brain. Instead of dictating solutions, their primary role shifts to providing intellectual stimulation. Within the inclusive leadership compass, this is mapped in the green Team Enable quadrant. High performance here relies on the baseline of psychological safety. This safety allows employees to participate fully, voice dissenting ideas, and take creative risks without fear. This combination of emotional safety and intense intellectual friction produces the innovation that drives the 56% revenue boost. But empathy and strategy are inert without execution. That requires the final biological layer, the enteric or gut brain. The gut brain governs our core identity and mobilization. It provides the willpower and courage needed to challenge status quo structures. In practice, this manifests as servant leadership. The leader uses their positional power and gut-driven courage to dismantle systemic barriers and enforce inclusive standards. We see this in leaders who break traditional power dynamics. Nelson Mandela used this courage to move toward values-based action on a global stage. True generative leadership requires the gut brain to execute the visions conceived by the head and supported by the heart. Modern leadership has inverted the old equation. Where the previous model demanded employees adapt to the boss, the transformational model requires the leader to adapt to the human needs of the team. This requires a specific sequence. It starts with a felt connection in the heart, moves to the head to process new perspectives, and executes through the courage of the gut. Empathy and inclusion have shifted from HR buzzwords to measurable drivers of revenue and team resilience. A leader operating solely from intellect remains an incomplete leader. In a complex world, performance relies on the functional alignment of the head, the heart, and the gut.